Welcome back to Truth Hurts, where we expose corrupt politicians and lying corporate media. I'm Jake Duesenberg, your host. We're broadcasting live from Roseville, Minnesota, in the belly of the beast, Ilhan Omar's area, to be more precise. And we have a great show in store for you. What are we going to talk about today, MAGA Jesse?
Oh, yeah, we got some good things in store here because it looks like, as we predicted for a while, Donald Trump 100% can win the state of Minnesota. That's what the media does not want you to know. We got Senator Colton Moore, who is exposing human trafficking in Georgia, potentially going to have him on here. We got some news about DFL dirty tricks, how they're trying to trick people. Nikki Haley is losing to none of the above in Nevada, which that would be a beautiful sight to see. And we got some a clip of what Biden used to say on illegal immigration and a couple other little stories here and there, but a good show planned. And I'm seeing Tucker, odd one in the comments already. Appreciate you guys tuning in.
Okay, this episode is brought to you by an Alpine Cabinetry up in East St. Cloud, and it's also brought to you by Warren Wessel of Warren Wessel Realty. Warren was in studio, part of our conversation on Tuesday. Did a pretty good job filling in for you there,
Nice.
MAGA Jesse, while you were up north. Give Warren a call if you're buying or selling a home, 651-209-0171. That's Warren Wessel, 651-209-0171. There's my ad read for the day. All right, let's get into the story. This is so funny. You can go to actionforliberty.com. You can read, you can see what we did. We took the KSCP-USA SurveyUSA poll that was released last night, and we linked in there because it's a really interesting thing. I'm going to admit one of the mistakes that we made. We got real hopeful in Minnesota in 2022 because Trafalgar Group polls were showing something way different than everyone else. Mm-hmm. And I think I even shat on SurveyUSA polls at the time, which ended up being about as precise as they could have been with how things ended up in the general election in Minnesota. So let's go to this story here. This is what do you think of my imagery on that one?
Looks good. Looks good.
I'm not even that big of a Trump guy, right?
Yeah, and one thing that I'm thinking, just as you had said, we were a little too hopeful in 2022. The biggest difference between 2022 and 2024 is that Tim Walz did not have dementia and Joe Biden does. So I think that, a lot of the Democrat voters, they're done with Joe Biden.
I think you're right about that. I mean, I still can't believe people pick Tim Walz at numbnuts. By the way,
Right.
I was just at an event with Tim Walz at it. So luckily we didn't end up that close to each other because I would have had some choice words for the asshole. But
Yeah.
I was at a deployment ceremony for the Red Bulls, Minnesota 34th Infantry Division. Actually, a unit that I was with and deployed with many years ago. All right, so let's get into this story. Scroll down here. What happened here is this is actually a poll with 2,100 people that were surveyed, and a good vast majority of them actually plan on voting in the general election. They did two parts of the survey. If you look at the links I got, they're going to show you different parts, but let's start with the primary. The primary campaign, Trump is dominating Nikki Haley. Like, when we did remember when we did the state fair booth? Well, it's not scientific, but people come by and they put the kernels in the thing. Mm-hmm. Nikki Haley was starting to get some traction in it. DeSantis, I think, was number 2. You were at the state fair more than me.
Right.
Wasn't that right?
Yeah, no, I think it went basically Trump, DeSantis, Vivek, and then, maybe Nikki was tied with Vivek at that time, according to our straw poll. But you're right, it was just, not scientific or anything, but just, general public. What do you think? Who do you want for president? So right. It did give a good sense of what's to come. And you're right, she had a little bit of momentum then, but doesn't look like it according to this poll.
Right, exactly. So Nikki Haley, let's see. Let me get back to this here. 1 second. So Trump's at 76%. And Nikki Haley, what is going on with my internet today? I'm not winning here. There we go. Nikki Haley at 14%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's terrible. The race is over. Nikki Haley is so irrelevant. It's almost like, why are we still talking about her? Because, she really doesn't matter.
What is she doing? Tell me. Like, from your perspective, she's going to get blown out in her home state of South Carolina. What is she doing in the race?
She's hoping that Trump gets locked up. She's hoping that Trump dies or something.
Hold on.
That's her only chance.
No one thinks she's going to get locked up, or Trump's getting locked up that quick, right?
Right. But that I'm just saying, they say a black swan event. That's her only hope, is just something out of the blue that we could have never seen coming that's going to damage Trump. But it doesn't exist. So, I think Nikki Haley's just holding on for dear life because she knows that she is the last line of defense for these rhinos.
I'm just trying to understand, what is the black swan event? Okay, so he certainly is going to be on trial at some point. Do you know which case is up first?
You know,
Criminal
I can't
one,
remember.
by the way. But there's no way he's getting sentenced or anything like that anytime during the primary season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that can't be the black swan event. I mean, is she assuming he's going to get shot? Like, what is she? What is going to happen that's going to change this dynamic?
Right.
Because otherwise, she's just wasting people's time and money.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
You know, like let's just say let's put Ron Paul in that position. Say Ron Paul was going after him. I'd be like, what are we doing here, right? Let's take our time and energy and go somewhere else with it, right? Or if you really truly believe that person needs to be the president, then now you got to start talking about an independent run, which I think there's actually some rules that forbid you doing that.
In certain states, right, there's sore loser clauses. If you're a part of a primary, then you can't be a part of the general election on a part of another ballot line.
Right.
So it depends on the state. There's different laws that require that. And I'm seeing odd one in the comments here. Even if Trump dies, do we automatically take the number 2 person or the last person left? Hopefully not. Exactly.
Of course not.
We would
Someone
not
else
be
is going to get in.
Right. So many others would get in the race, and then in that kind of situation would be at the Republican National Convention. So there would be a whole lot of room for debate, and there is no way in hell, even if Trump dies, Nikki Haley is not going to be our president.
I don't see it happening. Honestly, I don't see that happening. All right, so this poll, if we could get, well, actually, so Biden, this is the other funny thing about this, okay? Biden is just crushing Dean Phillips.
Yeah.
It's like Dean Phillips, and this is the same thing that happened to Nikki Haley. Dean, if he's got a chance, and he got crushed in New Hampshire by a write-in candidate, which was Biden. If Dean Phillips can't win his home state, what hope does he have? And right now, it's like I think Biden was at 70% in the home state. It was ridiculous. You can go look at the crosstabs here. I didn't want to spend too much time on the primary because the two stories are, it's going to be Biden and Trump in Minnesota, right? So that's the clear choice from the voters right now. This is a large poll. This is 2,100 people polled, high likelihood of people that are voting, and then across the gamut to Republicans and Democrats. Margin of error is under 3%. That's a big poll. Okay, so let's get into the general election. Pull up the crosstabs. I want to show you this. This is fascinating to me. Let's start with Biden versus Trump. Okay, so they ask. Can we zoom in up there? I think that's going to be hard.
I can zoom in a little bit.
What's
yeah.
that?
I can zoom in a little bit, yeah.
Okay. We're going to look at number 3. Okay, that's going to ask if the general election was, if the November election for president were today and you were filling out your ballot right now, who would you vote for? And then the candidates that they have are Donald Trump. By the way, they randomize the order too. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, other undecided. And when they do this, in total, it's 39% Trump, which, by the way, no one should be cheering that Trump got 39%. It's not great. But Joe Biden's at 42%. And then it's other 9% and undecided 10%. Now, first of all, undecided. I don't know what that means. I guess in a primary that seems crazy. Today, are they undecided thinking they might go third party and then they come back and vote in the two-dog race? What do you think that is?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
But,
undecided.
I think there are some real undecided voters. I mean, look at Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg just came, he turned the corner on Trump. I think that, some people are starting to go, maybe Trump wasn't so bad. There are some people who are probably, undecided. It's not a huge swath of people. I can't imagine it would be 10%. But I do think that there are people who are starting to turn the corner on Trump and seeing him from a different light.
Okay, so, and by the way, the approval rating of Joe Biden's at 41% in Minnesota, very low. Okay, so 42% Joe Biden, Donald Trump 39%. Basically a dead heat if you put the margin of error into it. You get into, this is what I found so interesting. We know the education trends that follows the country, but if you go down to number, let's see here. Where did I lost it? I had age on there. What happened to age? Why am I not seeing age?
Is
I
that at the
smoking
top?
dope? What's that?
Is that
There's
at
one
the top?
Oh,
yeah.
there's 3 threes. That's why. Okay. Yep. There we go. If you go to age, look at this. Donald Trump. Are you on it on the screen? I wasn't looking at the screen. Keep going down.
You
It's the
said-
first three. There it is. If you look at age, 18 to 34-year-olds, Donald Trump is winning 43 to 36.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your generation there.
I know things are starting to flip, and especially with they say especially with young men that there's a whole new red wave coming. That a lot of them they've been going to these indoctrination schools. They've been fed the feminism BS, and they've just had enough. And so I think that a lot of them see Trump as the middle finger to the entire swamp and establishment. So I think that young people are starting to. Like I said, same thing about Snoop Dogg and everything. I think that people are starting to see Trump from a different light.
I love how much we're quoting Snoop Dogg.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing. They got Taylor Swift, we got Snoop Dogg. We're gonna be just fine in this election.
Well, Snoop Dogg's in almost every commercial on the planet. So we need Shaquille O'Neal between those two there and everything. Alley Cat asked who did the poll. It was conducted by SurveyUSA and KSTP was the paying customer there, so they hired SurveyUSA. Once again, the poll sample is 2,100 people. That's a lot. It's a very small margin of error. And once again, KSTP's polls with SurveyUSA ended up being very accurate in 2022 in Minnesota. So I want to emphasize that. Now, you might have been accurate in a poll in the last election, and what does that mean? In the next one, right? It's old investments, past returns aren't indicative of future returns. So. Or past performance isn't indicative of future returns. If you go back to this here, so not only is Trump winning in that age demographic, he's also winning in the 50, 64-year-olds. Now, what's puzzling to me is you get to 35 to 49-year-olds, Biden is leading by 10 points. Now, what's going on in my generation is my question. I don't know a bunch of Biden lovers. And you got to look also at this crosstab that says if you're a parent, and that follows just the overall 42% in favor of Biden versus 39% of Trump. Fascinating one. So, and then when you get to 65-plus-year-olds, which is the largest voting base, right? Which I would imagine SurveyUSA oversampled that size, right? Because if they were being smart, they're going to resemble the voters too. Then it's 34% for Donald Trump and 48% for Joe Biden. So I think the big story that no one's talking about is that Trump's actually leading. In fact, I'm an idiot. We should have wrote our story with that angle, right? Maybe we'll just do a second story. Trump is leading amongst the youngsters. Let's see, if 18 to 34, that's all Gen Z and millennials. There you go, Dawson. Those are your people.
I'm disappointed.
Disappointed?
I'm disappointed that
Wouldn't
they're
you be
voting
just as equally disappointed if they had the senile old 81-year-old?
I'm disappointed that they're voting at all.
That's fair. And then your age demographic, according to this, is saying 13% are other and 9% undecided. Now, here's the other thing that no one's talking about. And this bothers me all the time with polls. There's a lot of things that bother me with polls, right? Especially when you go national polls. It's like, what is a national poll in the electoral college system? It doesn't matter, right? But here's the thing that no one's talking about. That's not what a Minnesotan's going to see when they have a ballot in front of them. They don't see Donald Trump, Joe Biden, other, undecided. They see Donald Trump, Joe Biden. What are we guessing? Vermin Supreme on there?
We'll see. There's going to be a mix of third parties. It'll be interesting, and we'll see what goes on with RFK Jr. now. Apparently, he's flirting with the Libertarian Party. Hopefully, that can be stopped.
Yeah, what is going on with that?
I've never heard of a pro-war libertarian, so I think RFK Jr. is going to run into a lot of trouble there.
Wait. Pro-war? So is he pro-Israel? Like, what do you mean by pro-war?
Oh yeah, he's even further for the military-industrial complex than Trump and Biden when it comes to Israel. So
just Israel, because he seems pretty humble on a lot of other.
I'm sure there, but it's going to be a tough sell to the libertarians. Plus, when you look at gun control, there's a million different issues that you could look at with RFK Jr. I think the Libertarian Party might not accept him after all. So we'll see.
Do I have this right? As RFK really agreed to a debate in front of the California Libertarian Party?
I don't know if it's a debate he's going and speaking, I think, with the California Libertarian Party, but, we'll see what goes on with that. He hasn't officially said that. If that's the case, then that's another battle to be done.
Well, I got some email the other day. Let me find this real quick on the fly, because it was about debating Michael Rechtenwald. Who's that?
Oh, he's kind of one of those screwball libertarians running for president.
Yeah, Wreck the Regime, Reckenwald for president. On February 24th at the Libertarian Party California Convention, I will take the stage with RFK Jr. I'll challenge RFK Jr. on libertarian grounds and in part. Well, I guess he's trying to say he wants to debate him. I guess there's no a debate that's been scheduled.
Right. Yeah, RFK Jr. It wouldn't make sense for him to debate him, but
Right.
we'll see what goes on there.
So RFK is really taking the stage at the California Libertarian Party. Interesting stuff. Okay. Things you learn. There's no better guy to ask than right here, MAGA Jesse. Like, he follows this stuff. By the way, we were trying to get Ryan Binkley on the show. What the hell happened with that?
I know. Bitch-ass Binkley. That's what I got. I'll tell you what, because this guy, polling at 0%, 0.0%, has the audacity to cancel an interview with us. It's like this guy, this is the best media he'd ever get. So you know what, Binkley? I'm done with him. Completely done. I've washed my hands clean of him. I want nothing to do with that guy anymore.
He has no idea, like, how good this interview would have been. Like, it's not like. Did you think they looked at you and go, "Oh, MAGA Jesse's"?
I told them I'm MAGA, and he agreed to it at that point.
So one of his.
It is what it is.
One of his people agreed to it initially, and then they backed out.
Right.
That's what happened.
Yeah, exactly. They say he's real focused on Nevada. Yeah, good luck, Binkley. Nothing's happening with you.
Speaking of Nevada, how's Nikki Haley doing in Nevada?
Right. Yeah.
Let's go to that story real quick. We'll go back.
Go ahead and pull that up, Dawson. It's on line 12 there, because surprisingly, Nikki Haley can't even beat nobody. So, Nikki Haley is losing to none of the above in Nevada. I'd forgotten to bring this up last time we were talking about Nevada here, but Nevada, and I wish Minnesota had this as well. They have a none of the above option on the ballot. It doesn't create any kind of binding rule or anything. It just means that if voters see all of the options and they say, I don't like any of these people, they're allowed to vote none of the above. And so, quote, new polling showed 59.2% of Nevada Republican primary voters say they would select none of the above during the GOP primary election, compared to 40.8% who said they will choose Haley. So we have, almost 60% of the Republican voters who are going to vote none of the above. I think a lot of Trump voters as well might just skip the primary outright because they'll say, if Trump's not on the ballot, I'm not going to vote. Okay, well, especially in a non-binding primary.
We've explained this before, but let's explain it again because I think this is interesting. What's going on in Nevada? Like,
right.
The reason the primary is not important.
Right. Candidates, when they were filing in Nevada, they had the option, do you want to be a part of the primary or do you want to be a part of the caucus? They understood when they signed up that the caucus was the only way to win delegates. The primary is worthless. What did Nikki Haley want to get out of this, though? She wants to get that headline that says Nikki Haley wins Nevada primary. That's going to be tough to do when you have none of the above beating you by 20 points.
Why do they have a primary if it doesn't matter? That's the puzzling thing.
Yeah, it's confusing. I imagine that it's just state law requires a primary, and I imagine
the party decided different.
Right, and that's how I'd imagine it.
All right, here's where I'm going with this, Jesse. So Nikki Haley's idea is, I'm not going to actually win delegates in Nevada. You say she knew this going into it, right?
Oh yeah, the party told her.
Okay, so her strategy is, we're not going to win delegates in Nevada. We're going to go to the primary to get a headline. Yep. And the headline she ends up getting is, she's basically losing to all the Trump people who are just going to hit none of the above.
Yep. It's perfect. It's perfect, and I think that,
that's what the media should be running with, how pathetic this is. And all you got it from was Breitbart. I'm guessing that it's not reported anywhere else.
Yeah, not too many places. And I just clicked on Breitbart because at least they're calling it out as it should be said. And this is just unbelievable. But I love to see it because Nikki Haley, she is irrelevant. She doesn't matter anymore. And so she is going to lose to none of the above as long as the Trump people make sure to show up. Like I said, Trump people just might not show up because it's irrelevant. But I hope they do, just to give us that headline that says Nikki Haley loses to nobody.
Oh, my God.
People would rather have nobody than Nikki. What does that tell you about her?
Oh, it says so much. Okay, let's go back to the KSTP poll here in Minnesota. Before we do, make sure you hit like when you, or if you're not subscribed. I hear all these YouTubers say like and subscribe. I should always say subscribe as well if you're not subscribing on Rumble or YouTube or whatever the hell you're watching. What do you got something to say there, Dawson?
No, I'm just gonna say do it on both.
Do it on both. Okay, fair enough. And then if you want to interrupt us anytime, get your word in, just hit that Rumble Rant button, and we'll interrupt what we're saying, and we'll go right to your comment. And even if you're watching not live, make sure you hit like. That's very important. Okay, so if we get back to this SurveyUSA poll conducted by KSDP, or paid for by KSDP, the next question after the question on who would you vote in the general election, Biden or Trump, and this is number 4, Dawson. Minnesota Republicans will select the Republican candidate for United States Senate in a primary election in August. And they say this because they don't really... When this thing was conducted, there was really no candidate. Now there is a candidate out there. We'll talk about that in a second. If the November election for U.S. Senate were today and you were filling out your ballot right now, who would you vote for? DFL candidate Amy Klobuchar, her Republican opponent, or a candidate from another party? In totality, 49% said Amy Klobuchar, 33% said Republican opponent, 4 other, and 15% undecided. Klobuchar isn't even getting 50% against nobody.
Yeah.
It's like the Nikki Haley move, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she's at least beating nobody, but Nikki Haley can't beat nobody.
And, this is, people who have seen her electoral history before, she has, won Minnesota by big margins before. So for her to be under 50%, it shows that a lot of people have associated her with the rest of the Democrats, as they should, because there is not a single issue where Amy Klobuchar is going to differentiate herself from Joe Biden or these others. She is 100% in lockstep with the Democrats on every single bill. There's not a single time where we go, hey, look, Amy Klobuchar is voting with the Republicans. Never. It doesn't happen. She's a lockstep Democrat, and a lot of people are seeing through it now.
Okay, so when asked by age category, I should say asked by age category, but with the age categories, 40% of 18 to 34-year-olds say Amy Klobuchar, 33% say Republican opponent. So that is the smallest margin right there of all the other age demographics, largest being the senior citizens again. So once again, the youth, God, this is the story that needs to be written. This KSDP poll is showing hope for the youth, right?
Yep.
But even with Amy Klobuchar, it's her worst margin. Okay?
Yeah, young people are naturally rebellious. Naturally, we don't like authority. And especially when you got someone like Amy Klobuchar, you look at her and you go, she ain't nothing like me. You can see that she's kind of this elitist attitude, and people are just sick of it. We want someone who's, genuine. And I haven't done a whole lot of research into whoever this new guy is that's jumping into the U.S. Senate race. I mean, I like Royce White, but I'd have to look into this new guy. I'm hearing a lot of stuff about him, but until I do the research, I don't know a whole lot yet.
Yeah, what was the story? It does look like Colton Moore is going to join us here, so just monitor that. Colton Moore from Georgia. This is a really interesting story. I can't wait to get to that story. But I was just reading a story here. Was this an NPR? It basically, what do you remember the guy's name?
I don't remember.
He's a former Navy commander. I'm gonna just put Republican in Minnesota Senate race. I'm sure there's gonna be a headline. Republican Joe Frazier. Okay, I forgot the name. Joe Frazier. This is a NPR story. Retired Navy commander wades into Minnesota's U.S. Senate race. And I'm just going to look for abortion. Abortion. Okay, so here you go. He tried to avoid political rhetoric. This is basically opining on his initial what do I want to
launch.
Say? Yeah, his launch, I guess. He tried to avoid political rhetoric that could allow the opposition to paint him as an ideological extreme. So basically, I mean, we're far right, according to Star Tribune. So, and I would say we have very common values with a lot of Minnesotans, most Minnesotans, right? But they're going to paint you anyhow, so it's so dumb. So what you're doing is you're playing right into their hand. Because they're going to, by the way, guess what they're going to do? They're going to paint you as extremists no matter what. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. All right. On immigration, he said the borders need to be secure, but he also pointed to the positive contributions that newcomers to America can make. Not that that's wrong. I'm just saying you could just see the dirty dance he's playing. All right. He said he personally... Oops, sorry. Oh, I missed the line. This was the important line. He said he personally opposes abortion, but said women deserve to make choices about their care.
Yeah, he's not saying anything.
Well, David Hand, what's the playbook here? Tell me the playbook. David Hand's going to tell him the playbook. Oh, just say you're pro-choice, basically, right? What an offense to all the Republican delegates and people that really care about that issue, the pro-life issue. So there you go. Those 2 lines, Jesse, do you feel like you know what's going on here?
No, I still don't want to speak
You don't
too
want to
much
speak?
on it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know
Fair
anything
enough.
about him, so.
Fair enough. Do we have Colton on yet?
No.
Okay, just give me a thumbs up when we do. We're going to have Georgia Senator Colton Moore. We actually had him on the program before. Colton was trying to impeach Fannie Willis, right? Do I have that right? Fannie Willis is the Georgia one. Yeah,
Yep.
she's the one with who slept with somebody.
Yeah, one of her one of her prosecutor buddies or something. Someone she brought into the case. That whole thing is nuts. And yeah, Colton Moore is also great on election integrity. He was, he calls out Raffensperger, and that whole thing needs to, there's a lot going on in Georgia to, straighten out those elections, which definitely needs to happen.
And it's an important state to do that in.
Absolutely.
Okay, Klobuchar once again. This is the other thing. If we can go back to crosstabs on Klobuchar on number 4. From party affiliation, she gains, and this is the thing that a lot of people that are paid probably more in the know understand. She gets 12% of Republican support. So now the unnamed Republican opponent gets 74%. This is the problem going up against Amy Klobuchar for Republicans, which is why you don't play middle of the road. So she gets 12%. I mean, how are you going to win in Minnesota if Republicans aren't even voting for you? If I go back up, let me look here before I say this. Yeah, it says, so it says in the same crosstab, and this is number 3, that Joe Biden gets 4% Republican support. Which, can you really be a Republican if you support Joe Biden? I mean, what the hell defines a Republican if you're voting for Joe Biden? Now, it says 4% of Democrats, and I can understand where those 4% of Democrats are. It's the blue dog Democrats that just haven't quite left the party yet. They're probably going to leave the party, but voting for Joe Biden. Wasn't there a prominent, am I thinking of Broadcorp? He endorsed, because he actually was like deputy party chair for the Republican Party of Minnesota. He actually endorsed Walz. He didn't endorse Biden, did he?
I don't
He's such
think
a
so.
numbnuts, he probably has.
I don't think so.
Did we have any prominent Republicans that did that? I mean, geez, Liz Cheney basically has. I guess whatever makes you a Republican
I'm
these
trying
days.
to think of some Lincoln Project types, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Gotcha. Okay, let's see here. Let's go to did I have anything else on this one here? We did the approval rating for Biden, which is at 41%. That might be another interesting one to look at the crosstabs by demographics. Of course, I didn't have that prepared, so I am going to be meandering too much. Yeah, I'm not going to do this. That might have been on the other one. No, actually, the other one was the primary. Anyhow, you can go get the links to this at actionforliberty.com right on our last article. Okay, let's go. Let's see here. What's the next story I want to go to before we get Colton? Oh, let's go to this Dirty Tricks one. Tell us about this one. This is from Alpha News.
Yeah. So, Dawson, that is on line 11 there. Because this is a pretty interesting story that, not a whole lot of people are talking about. What happened was a campaign finance board complaint was filed against that woman right there, Barbara Crow, who is the chair of the Democrat St. Louis County BPOU, because she made a donation of $100 under a fake name with a fake email with a fake address. The address is connected to the DFL of her BPOU, so obviously she's not smart enough to think through some of this nonsense she was pulling here. She shows up, gives a fake name. She calls herself Susan Johnson at this event. She has the audacity to show up at this thing like people aren't going to recognize her. It's a Republican event for 3B, which I think is Natalie Zalesnikar, who was recently elected over Mary Murphy just by very, very slim margins. So 3B is 100%, a very swing district for the Minnesota House and Minnesota Senate. So scroll down there a little bit, Dawson, because Donna Bergstrom, deputy chair of the Minnesota GOP, has filed a complaint against this Barbara Crow. And obviously, Crow knows the laws. If she's the DFL BPOU chair, she 100% knows how donations need to be filed, the proper way of doing things. And, you know, I'm not 100% sure what she was trying to go for here. I imagine that she was trying to get the Republicans to trip up with some kind of campaign finance violation, when in reality, she was the one committing it. So it's almost like entrapment. And so now Republican Party officials are calling on the DFL to force her to step down from her leadership role. I think that's probably the least that they could do. If you're committing, you know, this is a form of fraud. If you're doing this kind of thing, you cannot be the leader of a BPOU. And I think that this shows exactly the dirty tricks that the Democrats are always up to.
You know, it's so fascinating. First of all, it's good to see the Republican Party going after the Democrats now in campaign finance complaints.
Yeah.
Not just us, just assholes. But the spirit of this law, right, is that you can't just anonymously donate to, essentially candidates. So when you donate to a party, the party then can give those to candidates. So the spirit of law is that you can't do this anonymously. It's got to be made available to the public. Mm-hmm. So by her falsifying who she is and paying $100, she's literally breaking the law. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like, it sounds like it's Chapter 10A. Okay, so it is. I would have thought that might have been a different chapter. There might be more that played than just Chapter 10A law here. Mm-hmm. But it could be a fine of $1,000.
Yeah. Right. You know, it's crazy. I don't know why she thought she could get away with this thing, because, you know, politicos, you know, that are going to all these different events, they know who's who. Yeah. And, you know, they say she was mingling with these people. I mean, the audacity of that, to wear a fake name tag and be introducing yourself. Hi, I'm Susan. And you ain't Susan. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. And, you know, we'll see what comes out of this. But I think the Democrats need to look in the mirror and say that's not what they want to. It's a terrible public image to have leaders pulling these kind of stuff.
Hold on one second. I just had an idea. What if you go, like, imagine, what's his name? God, we haven't talked about him in a while. The cross-dresser in the Minnesota House.
Finke?
Finke, yeah. If when Lee Finke donates to somebody, what's it under? I mean, is Lee actually a legal name now? Do you know?
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
Like, think about this. If you're changing your name because you've changed your gender, mm-hmm. aren't you falsifying the information as well?
No, I don't know. I know that in Minnesota you're allowed to change your name on your voter registration, all kinds of stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting idea, though.
Isn't that just the same as changing your name anyways? I assume they did it legally, right?
Well, you can't just go. I would imagine you can't go by any alias, but of course, you know, if your name is Christopher and you went by Chris, there's no foul there.
Right. But was it legally changed?
I don't know in the case of Chris Finke. Let's just forget about Chris Finke, or Lee Finke. Tucker likes to correct us on that one. Chris. Oh, how dare you, Tucker? That's so mean. He chooses to be called Lee Finke.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's crazy. By the way, I want to just to make a comment here real quick. So I'm at this deployment ceremony, and Tim Walz is speaking, okay? I obviously can't stand that guy. I think that guy's a piece of shit. I think he's a traitor to this country. Because quite frankly, when you usurp the powers of the legislature and you rule by fiat like he did under COVID, you are anti-American. I mean, I don't even mince words on it. You are anti-American. You are a traitor to this country. Tim Walz also abandoned his troops. We've talked about that on the show. He dodged a deployment, okay? But he gets to speak at this deployment ceremony. And listen to this guy. And it hit me, Jesse. Mm-hmm. He is one freaking chameleon. Yeah. Because the way he speaks, and you know, most people don't know the record of Tim Walz like I do, okay? So I'm just going to, because the audiences, other than the military, which probably have not that much respect for him, but other than the audience, it's basically their loved ones, right? And members of the community. So this guy comes across as like folksy and, you know, down to earth and you know, I don't want to say moderate. What's the term I'm looking for? Like mainstream is what I'm looking for. He even says at the end, we hope to have them back before the birth of Christ. Or Christ's birthday, right?
Oh, okay.
Referencing back before Christmas, right? And I'm like, this is the same guy that has a 6-year-old parade out in front of a press conference saying that a 6-year-old can choose his gender and you should be able to mess up their sexual organs in Minnesota, especially if a parent doesn't want, even if a parent says no to it. I mean, like, he is the most radical guy, but he can just turn it on like a chameleon and just change it and make it seem like he's just a normal guy. Good old folksy, down the road, red-blooded American.
Yeah.
Boy, that guy's a piece of shit. Okay. Do we still not have Colton on here?
Nope.
Damn, I want to get this story going because this is so interesting. Well, let's do this here, Dawson. Let's get into the story. This is published by your favorite publication, The Daily Caller. Colton Moore apparently had a tip. And that's why I want to have him on here so we get down to the bottom of the story. A tip that they're processing a bunch, and when I say they are, it's like the feds to some degree are processing illegal immigrants through the Atlanta airport. What is that, the Hartsfield-Jackson? I always forget it. It's a Hatfield or Hartfield? Hartfield-Jackson Airport. I know the airport fairly well, other than the name apparently, because of my time in the military at Fort Benning, now known as Fort Moore, because you got to get rid of the Confederate generals these days. Although not that I have any problem with Hal Moore, by the way. Hal Moore, a great general and great leader, but so they are processing apparently illegal aliens. He gets a tip and he goes and investigates this thing with a camera. And I want to show you this.
Was it apparently illegal aliens, or was it alleged illegal aliens?
Well, this is a tip he got, okay? And as we watch this thing, it's hard to get to the bottom of the story because of how it ended.
And why else would migrants be, transferred and moved around if they weren't illegal? If they were legal citizens, they would just be traveling and doing things on their own.
Well, I mean, the one argument I would make is if people came here the right way, is there some kind of organization, in this case an NGO, non-government organization, that's actually helping with new people to this country? I guess that would be
could be
right?
language barriers, could be a bunch of reasons.
Right.
None of us have ever immigrated. I'm sure it's complicated.
Correct, yes. So that's why I want to get Colton on here, because I want to get to the bottom of the story. But let's watch this video here. This is him. And this, of course, you're going to see different angles of this video. And this is on the Daily Caller's website.
It kind of sucks to watch. Like, the video quality is not great. Also, it's hard to hear. So I'll turn it up as much as I can. But
You're on the same one now?
Yeah. That's what he said.
You recording?
Yeah.
Excuse me. The chaplain said you were going to tell us what's illegal immigrants might be hanging out here on the second floor. Willie, the chaplain.
What about illegal immigrants?
They're supposed to be illegal.
What do you want to do? Put them to work?
No, I just want to get a documentation of them.
Are you like ICE or something?
Senator from here in the state of Georgia, Senator Colton Moore, representing Northwest Georgia.
Yeah, they have like government, like some kind of agency that works with them.
I got you.
They're in there.
Okay. All right. Appreciate you, John.
Excuse us.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's one actually.
How's it going, man?
Yeah.
He's you guys documented, or
Yeah.
you guys
Yeah.
transporting anybody anywhere?
Yeah, we're all getting them flights to where they need to be.
Okay, where do they need to be?
All over the place.
Where are they coming from?
As in, like, country of origin and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. Also all over the place.
All over the place?
Yeah.
You know when they come into the U.S.?
Why? Can I ask you why you're asking these questions?
Yeah. The senator from Northwest Georgia.
Yeah.
And not a big fan of human trafficking, and just want to make sure
Oh,
everything's
yeah.
above board here.
Yeah, so these are just recently documented travelers getting released from ICE, getting to where they need to be.
Yeah. So your port, a company of volunteer,
Yeah.
Team Liberty.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that a non-government organization? What is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you receive. Like, how'd you get the job?
I'm a volunteer. I mean,
Just a volunteer?
there's people that they get dropped off here from ICE detention with no help, so we just,
All right.
yeah.
Sounds good, man. Care if we?
Good?
Yeah. Care if I come in? Just take a little closer look.
I mean, you can stand right there. I don't know you I don't know you very well either,
So
so.
just let me get a video if you don't mind.
Actually, you cannot get a video.
No,
You cannot get a video.
no, you're not allowed.
You're not allowed. You're done.
Okay.
I mean, that always makes the video more interesting, does it not?
Oh yeah.
You know, I was like in my head watching this. Dawson, by the way, I just sent you another email. Send it to him. So, because he is supposed to be on right now, so something's getting messed up. Because I got a million questions going through my head. I'm watching this thing and I'm like, okay, I kind of understand maybe how this could be above the belt. You know, this is okay. And then it ends like that, and you're going, oh, well, that's interesting, right? Am I crazy for thinking that's something fishy going on? Why else would you shut the cameras down so forcefully and so suddenly, right?
Yes, you're crazy for that.
Well, of course. Dawson, what is it with you and this reporter? This is the same. What's the reporter's name here? I got to get this right.
This one, I don't care about the reporter as much. This one's more on the senator, I think.
Oh, this is on this. Well, we're going to have him hopefully on, and you can grill him. Jenny Taylor? I hope I'm saying this right. We got to have Jenny Taylor on there because I just don't think Dawson believes anything she has to say.
I want to. I'd challenge her to a bench off.
A bench off? Why
Yeah.
would you?
Just
Are you
for
benching
fun.
plates yet?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've been
so
benching plates for a while. I had to stop because my wrist has started to get messed up, so I'm doing pec decks now.
Even if your wrist hurts, you should be able to outbench a woman. I mean,
Yeah.
women's.
Oh, of course I can because I'm
Okay.
shredded.
So wait, what are you benching these days?
I think that I like I said I haven't benched in a little bit, but I think that I ended up benching 175, 180
Oh, well,
with
that 180.
like the little 2.5s on there.
Yeah, so that's a
So,
couple 10-pounders.
Not bad.
And then,
My chest is making gains, so I'm happy with it.
there you go. All right, now let's get back to important news, which Dawson apparently doesn't ever believe anymore. This story here, if I can read it, from the Daily Caller, a video exclusively obtained by the Daily Caller News Foundation appears to show a U.S. service member guarding a room chock full of immigrants at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. By the way, I've got a comment on that part right there that I could probably add some context to once we get Colton on. Republican State Senator Colton Moore, who is the vice chairman of the Georgia Freedom Caucus, took the video Tuesday night and told the Daily Caller that he learned of the hidden room full of migrants through a whistleblower at Atlanta's airport, who noticed an influx of illegal migrants coming through the facility in recent months. In the video, there appears to be a uniformed soldier guarding a room full of migrants and volunteers with a group called Team Libertad, which boasts of helping migrants travel on its social media accounts. Quote, "We're all getting them flights to where they need to be," a man who identified himself as a volunteer from Team Libertad says in the video. You know, I couldn't really hear what he was saying. Am I just bad at hearing? I know
I listened to it as closely as I could, and I'm sure the audio is not great. It was something about these are recently documented people trying to get to where they need to go. That's the gist that I could pull out of it. It's hard to do.
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear recently documented.
He said it.
I
maybe
heard
I-
that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe I just misheard it then. But
Like,
and,
it's
yeah, who knows what? Okay, yeah, maybe that's right. Okay,
But what is
who
recently?
Yeah,
but what's
exactly.
recently
What does that
documented mean? Yeah.
exactly. Are they documented with this NGO or are they documented with the country? And, it is interesting to see a guard sitting out there. He obviously wasn't doing a
I don't
very
think
good
that's
job.
a guard.
Yeah, that's what you're thinking, right?
Yeah. I'll get into that. Did we get any response? How did we not
Nothing.
have a response? Are you sabotaging this, Dawson?
No, I've
Are you
emailed
afraid to
him.
debate him?
I've emailed 4 emails.
I don't know.
with
I
links.
feel like he's sabotaging this thing.
Yeah.
Send the email to me too. I'll
Deep State Dawson
text it
protecting
over.
the illegal,
He is. Look,
human trafficking.
That's exactly what's
Allegedly.
happening.
Disgusting.
We got
The
a
alleged-
patriot, Colton Moore, trying to get on this thing, and he's sabotaging the whole thing. Send me an email with the link there, Dawson.
Yep.
I'm not gonna let you sabotage this anymore. These are just recently documented travelers getting released from ICE. See, I didn't hear that, but that's pretty interesting. Immigration, Customs Enforcement, getting to where they need to be. Maybe I guess join families, right? If I'm playing devil's advocate, they're trying to join families. Speaking of devil's advocate, you see the guy who ripped off the head of the satanic thing is getting
Tucker
charged.
had sent that to me. Yeah, Tucker sent. I haven't really dug into it yet, but I can't imagine that's going to stand in Iowa.
Right.
Kim Reynolds. She'll easily get that guy out.
How's she gonna get him out though? Oh, you mean
a governor pardon? Yeah.
Oh, I see.
That's.
But
I
you
just
think he'll
can't
get
imagine
prosecuted
in
because it's in
Iowa.
the courts now? That's
Right.
an interesting thing.
It is interesting. I just think, how is that going to stand in Iowa? It just doesn't make it doesn't make sense to me. There, even in you can see it in Minnesota. Tim Walz would defend the Satan worshipers maybe, but I can't imagine even a rhino like Kim Reynolds is going to draw the line at the devil.
Gotcha.
Did you get that link?
Yeah, they confirmed they got it. Apparently, Colton just
Colton doesn't know how to use technology. Doesn't know how to hold a phone up to record something without dropping it.
Well, in that case, I think he's trying, because at the end of the video, he's like grabs the phone like he's recording it all of a sudden. So I think he's trying to pretend like he's not recording anything. So I think that's why we got this shitty. But now with that being said, no, I was thinking about this.
Yeah, it looked like it was undercover.
Yeah, Dawson, I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
Because I'm with you. I would, I had this great footage of a moose running across Highway 2. And that sounds dumb to most people, but it was a little bull moose, and it's just outside the range of moose. It was so cool to see, and I had to quickly grab my phone. And when I grabbed the phone, the orientation changed, okay?
Yeah.
So I went back and I corrected it so it always was upright, right? Not that hard to do with just minimal skills in video editing. But if you do that with this video, don't you think everyone's then going to question the authenticity because they see that some editing's been done? In fact, if someone was like, hey, this is an edited video, you can't actually deny it's an edited video because what you did is you're reoriented. So I almost think it's good in the raw to leave it that way. I thought about maybe before we showed our people it, we actually corrected on our end.
Well,
So
I mean,
go ahead.
I don't think that the orientation matters very much. If we go back at the beginning, it looked like at the beginning he was trying to get it to be the right way that he wanted it to. I mean, if you're going undercover and you're going to try to record stuff, like, it's hard to do, so I don't really mind about that stuff. I'm more talking about at the very end when he's holding it up above the crowd or above the guy's face, and then he holds his hand up. Easiest thing in the world to let it go, and then all of a sudden, oh, it's a story. I don't buy that.
Gotcha.
Also, it could just be a mistake. It could be Occam's razor. Maybe he just frickin' dropped his phone and it was just an organization meeting. I don't know.
All right, so I'm going to go on. There's people that, this is a quote. There's people that they get dropped off here from ICE detention with no help, the man added. So that's already an interesting statement. They're in ICE detention. That makes it sound like they're not supposed to be here. Mm-hmm. So when he says they're getting documented, is this through that program that's allowing people once they get here as economic refugees, they're allowed to stay here? Because isn't it up to like 2 or 3 years under Biden?
This is saying that he got his phone taken from him from the Army guy? U.S. Army guy? I didn't see that in the video.
Where did you read down, Laura? Where are you reading this?
Yeah,
I might
He's
have.
got it right on the screen there.
Well, okay. You're getting ahead of me. So that's below the video. Let me see this.
Oh, you're still above
The
it?
room was absolutely packed with people from every continent on this planet. When I took my phone and reached it above the guy to get a better view of all the illegals in the room, that's when the chaos broke out. That's when the U.S. Army guy took the phone. It was a scrimmage between he and I in order to get the phone back, and then he proceeded to tell me to get out of there, and I just made a real big scene of it.
I didn't.
But see,
A skirmish? between him and the army guy that was maybe guarding
Why are
the
you
thing?
denying this, Dawson? It
Well,
makes
no, hold
sense.
on.
I mean,
This is actually.
Sorry, did you
my
see a
skeptic.
fight break out? What chaos? He dropped his phone because it was loud. It's chaos. It's
no, if some guy's trying to take your phone, he's trying to expose this thing. You're acting like it's no big deal. If it's 100% real, if there's human trafficking going on, which guess what, it is happening. All these illegal immigrants that are coming across the border where they're sending, they're using fake families. They're saying, these are my kids. It's not real.
is any of
there's
this
all kinds
happening
of
in
stuff
this
going
video,
on.
or is that like other stuff that's going on other places?
What?
Is that what's happening in the video, or is that
Well, we
everything
don't
else?
know.
We don't know. That's why we got to get Colton
That's
on
what
here. Stop
he's
sabotaging
trying to
Dawson.
expose.
Nepkin 8 says William putting Dawson up to all this arguing.
William's
yeah, that's
actually
exactly
behind me
what's going
right
on.
now.
No, I think
Yeah.
this is it, and this is what the media is going to start saying. This is some big conspiracy that there's this big underground program to fly migrants across the country, and the U.S. Army's backing it. Right? Are you listening to yourself here? Right? It does seem it seems a little crazy. Now, what's not crazy is the Mexican border is getting flooded by illegal aliens every day. They're coming across. I'm gonna press a little Colton. Is that why? Is he avoiding the hard conversation? Damn it!
He's
Is
still
that what's
not-
going on?
He's still not in here. I don't know what's going on.
Tisk. I'm actually very interested in the story, and I actually have some context on that soldier. If it's the same soldier he's alleging that was out in the hallway. Okay. The whistleblower said there's been an uptick of migrants traveling through the Atlanta airport in recent months. Now, this has been caught. Gosh, this has been not just the Daily Caller that's done this story. I think this has been done by multiple, once again, new media, because the mainstream media is not going to cover it. The Biden administration began flying illegal migrants in secretive overnight trips to New York as early as August 2021, according to the New York Post. Well, there you go. New York Post, I guess that's more mainstream. In recent years, federal authorities have recorded a record spike in illegal migrants crossing at the southern border. Border Patrol recorded more than 2.2 million encounters in fiscal year 2022 and more than 2 million in fiscal year 2023 at the U.S.-Mexican border, according to federal data, which we did read the other day on air. By the way, who's paying for these flights?
Goodness gracious.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think it's, after this story, which also you don't believe, Dawson, reported by the same journalist, we find out that there's a terrorist in Minnesota from Al-Shabaab terrorist who got nabbed just recently, and he came across the border, I think it was March of 2023. Illegally came across the border. The reason we knew that is they initially had him on the terrorist watch list, and then they figured they had something wrong, and they let him go. He makes his way up to Minnesota, and then ends up somehow gets back on the list. Now, Dawson questioned that story because it's only being reported so far by the Daily Caller. It was a leaked memo to them.
Yep. This news story too is also an exclusive. Very, very.
Well, actually, I'll tell you what. That is the world today. Exclusives.
We do
Dawson,
have footage. We
because
do have
people-
footage of this one.
What's
so
that?
We do have footage of this one. So this one actually happened. That's a step
I know.
up.
It's just like what's the context behind it?
Yeah. I would love to get some context.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna ping him again.
I've heard about the border deal that's going on in the U.S. Congress, where apparently Mike Johnson is not happy with the Senate Biden deal. So that hopefully Mike Johnson steps up to the plate, because so far he hasn't fully done what needs to be done. But if he is willing to really put up a good fight on this, because they say that once the border crossings amount to over 5,000 a day, then enforcement can be done. It's like, what are we talking about? The answer should be zero.
Right.
You don't allow anybody to cross the border illegally. I understand there's some refugees and all that, or people seeking asylum, but you're supposed to go to the next country to you. There's all kinds of rules. We're going to have a mass deportation to get our country back.
It's such a crazy issue. I mean, I never thought we'd talk about this so much on this show because we're up here in Minnesota, right? I just didn't think so. But now it's like this
And
is
immigration
affecting us.
is now the number one issue in our country. There was a new survey I'd seen out there that shows that inflation is number two, but immigration. When you see all these stories, because people weren't talking about immigration like this in 2010, 2016, any of that. But all of a sudden, you're hearing about immigration all the time. The people are talking about it. People are asking questions about it. They're seeing what's going on at the border. So now immigration is all of a sudden, the top issue for our country. And what does that mean? It means it's a great sign for Donald Trump because he was right all along.
This was a point that I had brought up in a meeting a while ago. I don't think that I ever brought it up on show, but immigration seems like one, and I've already told you guys this, but it seems like one that everybody wants to solve, but nobody's going to because it's an important running issue every single time, right?
Well, Trump tried to, but ICE, all these sanctuary states and sanctuary cities wouldn't allow ICE to cooperate. So, Trump was doing his best to, but I guess you're right that a lot of the Republicans don't necessarily want to solve the issue because the Republicans are looking at this and saying this is a bad problem for Biden. The Democrats don't want to solve it because they want the open borders. They want to flood our country with illegals. So I think a lot of the politicians don't want to solve it. But
scummy politicians that would literally place the election above the actual needs of the safety and security of our country.
I've got a hypothetical for you guys. Do you think that the country would be better off if every politician could only serve one term and you couldn't get reelected? There was no career in it.
No, I think that would be better off if the bureaucracy was like that.
Who are the bureaucrats?
Well, it's because bureaucracy, anything from people inside of the IRS to staff, congressional staff, because it's
so not
you can corrupt a brand new freshman congressman, right?
Yeah.
You could do that. It's not that hard to do.
Okay? You don't want a fresh batch of new people who have no idea what's going on every single time.
No, I kind of do. I kind of do want that.
There's a little bit of that, but really what's more important is the campaign finance element. I think if somebody is a good representative, they should get reelected for year after year after year after year because, someone like Ron Paul, if Ron Paul was my representative, I'd vote for him a million times over, and it wouldn't be... so I think, politicians can earn their way to re-election. It's the campaign finance because you look at all these U.S. Senate races where South Carolina, for example, I think they spent each campaign where it was Lindsey Graham and Jamie Harrison, who's now the DNC chair. And the reason he's the DNC chair is because he proved he can bring in this much money, but they each were raising, something like $60 million apiece. And that's disgusting. If the only way that you can get elected to the U.S. Senate is by fundraising $60 million, getting all this corrupt money, all the lobbyists and special interests, it shows how broken our country is. So I think the problem is not term limits. I think the problem instead is the campaign finance.
I think there's a lot of things. The campaign finance, I do agree with term limits. I just don't think it solves everything, but it's really quite, actually if you dig deep, pun intended here, the deep state, right? That's it though, right? We have to go back to the fact that the top brass at the military was lying to Donald Trump about the numbers in Syria. It's if you're lying to the commander-in-chief, the president of the United States of America, who the hell are you serving? That is crazy. It's a crazy story. North Minnesota says, my liberal boss said he's voting for Trump because of the border issue.
Nice.
He hates Trump, but he's voting. See, that's my thinking here. And I just checked it up because I want to make sure I wasn't missing part of the poll because they released the crosstabs in two different stories, but I'm assuming it would have been too long for them to ask on issues. All I know is KSCP's poll was primary questions and then general election questions. But are they going to release another section of the poll on issues? And I'd be really curious to see where immigration is on it because I'm going to be honest with you, I'm starting to think that, economics are still my biggest one. But boy, that issue is becoming crazy. In fact, I was saying this to my wife. I was driving back from this deployment ceremony. We're about to send 550 troops in Minnesota National Guard to Kuwait. Okay, now I know a lot of people on this deployment. Oh, sorry.
We got Tucker in the comments here. Yeah, $5 Rumble Rant. Thank you. He says keeping the streak alive. Cheers, everyone.
Did we really didn't have a Rumble Rant? Holy cow! Almost an hour in, no. Wow. Thanks, Tucker. The streak almost ended.
Seems like they don't want me speaking up as much.
Yeah, you're ruining the streak there, Dawson.
Or am I getting silenced?
Tucker, I was thinking Tucker was saving those Rumble Rants for when Bridget gets back, but apparently, Jesse's good enough too. Yeah, you'll do. By the way, Tucker was on Tuesday night for our super secret meeting, and he got a chance to be on set and got a picture in front. Glenn took a picture in front of.
Was Tucker here? I don't think I got to see Tucker.
Yeah, big beard. Cool looking dude, a beard.
Big beard. Half the people in there had big beards, and they were
No,
all the
but like,
men.
well, yeah, I got a beard, but my beard is trimmed. His actually like goes down here.
Every beard that is longer than mine is a big beard.
You don't have. You have a mustache. I don't know what.
It's there. You can see it. I'm proud.
No, we can't.
Oh damn! It sounds like he can't do it.
Oh, he's scared. He's getting called
No.
out.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll have to try to reschedule him in or something because no, it would be interesting to talk to him. I think that at the very least, we should be investigating these kinds of things when if we're hearing that these non-governmental agencies and organizations are. Hold on a second. T-Wall for life. $15 Rumble Rand. Thank you very much. Lurking and working. Yeah, appreciate that, T-Wall.
T-Wall, by the way, you and K-Wall, thank you for what you're doing, by the way, helping out Action for Liberty.
It was good to see you guys.
Yeah, these are awesome people, by the way. I say this often, I'm sending my love letters to my audience all the time, but these guys are great.
Oh, yeah.
They have a volunteer bone in their body too, so they keep the show powered, but also volunteerism. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, what were you saying now, Jesse?
Yeah, no, I think when these kind of stories are out there, we need people out there investigating it. We'll see if more details as they come out about once we can maybe see more about who this non-governmental organization is, what exactly the plan is. I mean, obviously it's a transfer of immigrants. What does that tell us? It could be a lot of things. Maybe it's all on the up and up, but it also could be a human trafficking thing. And so appreciate that he went out and, at least got the story. We'll see what comes out of it.
The story's not standing up yet until he comes on air. I don't know if they're dodging us.
You think he's pulling a Binkley?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think
they
so.
literally-
I'm sure it's
Because I know the people that
something
work with
else.
him, so I don't think it's that. But
Yeah.
but we're in entertainment, so why are you dodging us, Colton?
I wonder. So that last story that I had pushed back on, has there been any other news sites picking it up?
No. I mean, if I had more time, we're putting together a real interesting story about more corruption in the Image GOP right now. So I just don't. This is the problem that we have. We don't have the capability to get on a lot of these news stories right now. Okay.
Like
and as soon as I
us
said
get
that, I
out
realized
there.
maybe there is a way to do this.
You're talking about like us going out and doing investigative
Yeah,
reporting?
well, we only have a news truck. Have we told the audience about our news truck yet?
In passing, probably.
Okay. Yeah, we actually have a news truck.
Yeah, I was asked on how big screens do we want on the sites.
Yeah, we got a really generous supporter who wants to see us do some pretty crazy things. I'll put it that way. So
That's for sure.
there's not enough Rumble Rants in the world to fund that thing.
No.
Well, I guess it could if we grow the audience by a lot. But I was like, man, I was thinking about this. We should be going down to the U.S.-Mexican border. A lot of new media is doing this stuff. Go see this situation.
Absolutely.
And now there's this caravan basically going down to the U.S.-Mexican border, which might be a really dumb idea. Where do you stand on that? This truckers' convoy to the border?
I've just barely heard about it, so I don't know a whole lot about it. But I mean, it is interesting. It gives me a good sign of hope, just in the fact that when our government is letting us down and failing to protect the borders, the citizens will step up and do it. There is something powerful about that. Who knows? It could end up being a big disaster, but I like the idea. We'll see what comes out of it. But it's an interesting idea. I'd like to see. I think there's nothing wrong with patriots trying to protect their country.
Line number 17, Dustin, if you want to pull this up. Well, the reason I say is this a good idea is because are they being set up for another January 6th event? This is a convoy heading. This is from KFDM.
What is
A convoy heading for the border made a very public trip through southeast Texas. The Take Our Border Back convoy, as several dozen trucks and private vehicles crossed the state line Wednesday afternoon from Louisiana into Orange County. I didn't want to say this is reporting from Orange County because I thought that was California. Apparently it's not. This is Orange County, Texas.
Anybody doing this, please be careful, because who knows what kind of guns and stuff is getting toted along with the
Well, it's sad to
people
say
coming in.
that. I mean, they could just. I'm saying like the feds could be setting them up. They're just good patriotic people. A number of supporters line the side of the highway holding signs of support. The truckers are heading to Eagle Pass to show their solidarity with the state leaders who say they're working to secure the border. Here's the other thing we could be doing, but we've got to support. Sorry, I'll stop. We got a Rumble rant.
Oh yeah, here we go. Love Minnesota. $20 Rumble rant. Spring for the big TV, Dawson.
I did, and honest to God, I think that we're gonna be getting a screen that's bigger than I am. That's like
Oh no, it's huge. Yeah, and by screen we're talking about LED panels, right?
that's gonna be on the side on both sides of a news truck. It's
We
crazy.
bought KSTP's former news truck.
Yep.
I think we could say that now,
That's,
right? We own it.
It's kind of funny how
Go, just pick up a picture. Google KSTP news truck. This thing's like from the 70s. Still got the satellite on it. I mean, it's gonna be decorated. It's gonna be the best news truck you've ever seen. So a lot of people say it's a good news truck. That's what we have right there. That's
without
a baby.
the crappy branding on the sides.
Yeah, it's scraped off all the paint stuff, gutted out because it was
sick.
ancient technology. I think it was from the 70s, but Diesel Mechanic says still runs well. So there you go.
It's gonna be so cool.
But yeah, do we want to go to this Biden immigration thing here? It's on line 10, Dawson, because this is an interesting clip of what Joe Biden used to say before he had dementia, before he hated this country, before any of this was out there. This is what his response was on the issue of immigration and what he said was important for our country to deal with.
All right.
To your leadership and experience on this issue of immigration.
Yeah.
What is your wisdom and thinking experience on
experience-
what's legal, not legal? A big tough fence.
My experience is that the American people, historically,
Oh my
are on balance much more generous than they are parochial. But what they want to know is what you're saying to them makes sense. And there's three things that make sense, it seems to me. And the point is, how do you bring them in line with one another? It makes sense that no great nation can be in a position where they can't control their borders.
Agreed.
It matters how you control your borders, not just for immigration, but it matters for drugs, terror, a whole range of other things. So that's the first sort of truism. The second truism is that this nation is such that people in the country should have the first opportunity to be able to have jobs that pay well and have jobs that are decent, and that after that, the second crack goes to what we may need from other parts of the world or any other input.
Okay, that's good right there.
Did you notice
That's crazy.
his earlobes right there? No.
Yeah. No,
Watching this,
how interesting was that? That was an America First message by Joe Biden saying take care of the citizens first, saying that you have to control your border, saying that it's not just the people that are coming across, it's the weapons, it's the drugs, it's the violence, So Joe Biden, he knows better than with what he's got going on right now, and even Barack Obama didn't do this to our country. Joe Biden is like totally out to lunch. He has no idea what's going on. Mayorkas needs to be impeached, and someone needs to get this border under control.
Yeah, but at least he doesn't have kids in cages there, Jesse.
Yeah, who built the cages? Obama and Biden.
It's interesting. That's from 2007, so he's running for president against Barack Obama
Yeah.
at that point.
it's that's freaking that like almost made me sad. It was like watching
looked old
him
then,
here.
too.
He's got freaking life. He's like you can watch him think and it makes sense. But now you look at it, it's like
He's
just
frail.
reading a teleprompter.
Well, it's because it's not really Joe Biden. You don't believe that's Joe Biden, do you?
well,
That's
obviously
an
he's
actor,
a lizard
guys.
person on top of everything. But I'm just
The world's not what it seems, guys. It's fun talking to cute people, but they just keep going back to that.
Yeah.
I think that's Joe Biden. I think he's very much aged at this point.
Right.
so old. How this was 2007. What is that? 13 years ago?
14?
14, 15?
14
I don't
years
know.
ago?
I can't do math. But holy crap.
Sorry, wait. What year is it? 17 years ago. 17 years ago.
Almost 2 decades ago. Man. Too old.
That is so crazy to think that was that
Isn't
long
that
ago.
crazy? I was alive then, actually. Never mind.
Yeah, because you've actually had 4 presidential terms since that video, right?
It would've
2
been-
Barack Obamas, 1 Trump, and 1 Biden.
Oh,
Yeah.
I came into the George Bush one, right? 1999.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So does that?
Oh, you came into this world? Is that what you said?
Yeah. I was
You were
born
born
during
in
George
99?
Clinton.
Yeah.
You were born in Clinton still, because
Yeah.
That was
Bush
Clinton?
took over in 2001.
Oh my gosh, I'm old. I'm turning 25 this weekend.
That's not old.
That's how crazy that. A quarter of my life is gone.
That was very optimistic of you. He's going to live to 100, I guess.
Yeah. Oh,
More
well,
realistically, Dawson, with current trends, a third of your life
Hours.
is already gone.
in trends, you've got like
Trends.
2 days.
75.
maybe.
What? Well, look up right now. The average age of man is like 77 years old. I'm pretty sure. And you've been vaccinated, Dawson, so it's about a third.
Yeah, that won't help. But I mean,
That's a joke,
it's
and
just
yet it's
crazy
not a
because-
joke.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing. Even in that video, Joe Biden is old then too.
Yeah.
He's still an older guy. Like if we watched that back in 2007, we'd say, oh yeah, maybe he's got 10 years left in politics. And here we are still. It's like he's still in there. It's unbelievable. It makes no sense, and it shows that. I think he had to sell his soul or something to become president because you look at a guy like that, someone who was, semi-competent, and, they say that Joe Biden has a stutter. I didn't hear a stutter at all in there. Back then it seemed like he was able to speak fine. Now he can't get out a sentence without screwing up. So it's sad to see, but that's what the real Joe Biden used to be like, and I don't know what we got now.
What are we looking at here,
It looks like 86.13 is going to be the average, but they
Average
don't.
win.
In 2079.
Oh, that's according to the UN.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
UN
fuck
wants
it.
to kill us all
What is
anyway.
what is the average age right now?
Right now.
Yeah.
79.25.
For men, or is that both? I think it's both. Yeah, I'm talking about men. Assuming you still choose that gender.
Well,
If you choose to be a woman, then you just see. There you go. That's it. If you choose to be a woman.
Technically-
if gender's fluid. Why don't you just choose to be a woman? You got 3 more years in your life.
being Jewish, I'm half lizard, so that adds
That's
a
right.
lot of time onto my life. I don't
Where
know
are the
where to go
tunnels,
for this.
Dawson? Where are those tunnels?
I don't know where to go for what you're.
Someone was telling me
looking
about a child sacrifice was found in those Jewish tunnels.
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
No, it's not true. Or is it?
for.
Yeah.
I
doubt
don't
it.
know where to find
Just,
what you're talking about.
I'm sorry, but just Google and just say, what's the average life of men?
Come on, baby.
All the luck we're having today, right?
Sing for me. Okay. There. I'm feeling good about this. Give it a second.
It seems like it is back on. At least it is on my screen.
Yeah.
Would
we
someone
won't
in the
know
comment
until
section, if we're good, just put a thumbs up
we
or
won't know
refresh.
until
Just put you guys are good or something like that. So what is with us today? Tech issues. Can't get Ryan Binkley on the program. Can't get Senator Colton Moore. What is going on? We're plagued today. We almost didn't have a Rumble rant.
Yeah.
Something is wrong in this world.
But then we got 2. Okay, we're on.
Okay, yeah. Tucker says working now. Billy22 says good, so it looks like we're back.
There you go.
Back
See-
in business.
Just look up, Dawson. Look up what's the average life of a male. I never thought about that argument, but really, if gender is fluid, why don't you just become a woman and then you get I think it's like 3 or 4
I
more
imagine
years.
those surgeries are going to take a couple of years off you. There's no way you can
You
experience
don't need
that.
to have the surgery to become a woman.
It takes a couple inches off of you as far as I've
Life
heard.
expectancy. I got camera blocking my view on that one. So what does it say?
Oh, are you looking for? Oh, the.
Life expectancy of a male. Oh my God, you are the worst.
What? I am
Just
not
put
bad.
just
It's
Bing.
Bing.
Just Bing.
What?
Wait. Okay, Bing life expectancy of male, U.S.
What's?
You just wrote what is average? No, you got to.
Yeah, what's the
what
average
is
age of a
age?
male? The average age of a male would be whichever.
76. I was a little high.
Yeah.
76.1. But I think that came down post COVID. And then now type in woman. And I think that's why it's 79 because the women are like 82.
Wow. It doesn't give you the same. graph.
Razzle Dazzle says 77.28 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I was pretty close. These are things you learn when you in 2020. Yeah. So he's right. Yeah. So It came down. And then 81.1, if I'm reading that right. Yeah, there you go. Gender's fluid, so just become a woman.
Yeah.
You get a couple more years in your life. Anyhow, Dawson, I go back to what I said. You're a third of the way done with your life.
Well,
but, I got to be careful here. I'm over halfway done with my life.
you
Oh,
said
boy,
it.
is that depressing. Oh, my God. At this rate, I won't even get to use a news truck.
The way that I'm looking at it is I'm just leveling up. I'm level 25 in 2 days, and it's just getting better.
Do you think by the time I'm 77 we'll have Colton Moore on this program?
We will have to see.
Yeah.
Let me go. Here's my thing on the military. That soldier. Can you go back to that image? We're just not going to get him. Apparently, something went wrong. He went on the wrong
Image? Are you talking about
the video? Go back to the video, and they're talking about the soldier. This soldier is a drill sergeant with 194th Armored Division, or Armored Brigade, and this would be at Fort Moore. Used to be Fort Benning, but you could scroll a little bit there because you can see his patch.
Yeah, it's going to be super hard to find.
But the bigger thing is when you look at his hat, it's a drill sergeant hat. So he's 194th Armor. Okay, see that hat?
Come on, show him.
That's a round brown hat.
Gosh,
that is
if you're going to
drill
go
sergeant
covert, at least.
Hat. Yeah, there's a better view. Just keep going. Just keep going on that. There, right there. You can see that. That's round hat. As a drill sergeant.
The dude from Full Metal Jacket.
The drill sergeant from Full Metal Jacket, although he was a Marine. Okay.
Oh.
Now and then you look at his patch. He's 194. That's a training regiment. I was infantry, so I wasn't in that one, but that was on Sand Hill. That was where infantry was. This would be, I think it's just armor. Maybe I've been on the military. I went to basic training before 9/11, so I'll just put it that way. It's been a while since I've been to basic training in Fort Moore now. Long story short, that's not the role of a drill sergeant to guard something. A drill sergeant's job is at the Atlanta airport. I know this because this was me when I was 18 years old. I got off a plane in Atlanta, and there's drill sergeants waiting there to bring you into a processing area to put you on a bus to take you to Fort Benning. So this guy's job is that. I don't know if he's just hanging out there. That's why I wanted to ask Colt Moore is like, wait, this soldier, right? That doesn't make any sense. My thinking is he's got an hour before some flights land, or he's just taking a break. He found a chair in a hallway, and he just happens to be there.
Not only that, but this is the U.S. military guy that got in a scuffle with him, that got in a fight with him.
But see, that's the thing is that's what you think from reading the story, but that can't, I just
that's
can't
what the
see that being
story
the case.
says. Of course, it's what you think from reading the story.
Right.
That's why I think it's bad reporting. It's like,
Well, how
What
do
are
you
you
know?
talking about?
Why are you saying bad reporting? We weren't there. There's no video of it. Obviously, there was something that made him stop recording, you know?
no video of it. We watched the video of
No,
it.
I'm saying of the scuffle, like we're talking about. Keep with the Dawson.
Well,
saying,
yeah, because all we saw was the reporting is that, and it said a U.S. Army guy, so it didn't even say U.S. Army soldier, which is a weird way to report it. But I get it. A lot of people don't understand the military, right? Yeah, I want to get to the bottom of the story.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, you might have a point. But by the way, if you're right on these two stories, Dawson, you got some damn good instincts,
Thank you.
right?
I watched The Truth Hurts.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I love about our show is, listen, I'm not sold on one thing. I want to get you guys the truth, okay? This is an interesting story. I think it's very believable someone was let through the border and picked up who's a terrorist, Al-Shabaab terrorist. I think that's a very believable story in Minnesota. What's
And
the
I
proof?
think
The
it's
proof is we're
realistic.
going with the reporter. We don't know firsthand, and I think we do want to hunt that story
Right,
down.
absolutely. And, it is realistic that, once they're telling him, put your phone away, why wouldn't the guy, if he is doing some sort of security for them, try to stop
No,
Colton
I'm
Moore?
saying there's no way he's doing security for him.
Right.
So now maybe he just saw a scuffle and he's
Right,
just
but I
helping out
guess-
because he's a heroic kind of guy.
I don't think the journalist was taking like any liberties on that. I imagine they were getting that from Colton.
Yeah.
Right. So unless Colton's lying, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I already know I'm the deep state. That's my thing. That's what I do.
Well, once again, we don't know anything.
We have no answers.
His guy said that we'll get more later. I don't know.
Good.
I think we should. Maybe we should just do.
Even if you could get just like a quick minute with him or something. Or
Yeah,
like
maybe we'll do like a special episode or a special interview. Otherwise, we'll schedule this for Tuesday. Does that sound
Good
good?
idea.
All right, you had a funny thing you want to get to before?
Yeah, line 13. How to
Okay.
talk to politicians. This is a world-class example of don't ever give politicians the respect that they think they deserve. And I saw this yesterday, and I couldn't stop laughing at it. If you could,
I've seen
if you
this,
could scroll it back, Dawson, just to the very first second there. Yeah.
I
have
seen
not
this one.
seen this.
Okay,
That's
it's hilarious.
Good evening, cowards. Rick Hubbard, 97 Spruce Lane. Nice to see a bunch of fat, ugly women.
No.
I'm speaking. They're fat, ugly women is what they are. Let's talk about it.
We're not having that.
You don't have to buy.
That ain't free speech.
It's called free speech. Buy.
That's not free speech. That's insulting.
Okay, everybody, stop. Let Mr. Hubbard speak, please. Enough. Go ahead, Rick.
And we wonder why children are retarded stupid today. We wonder why. We wonder why when we have these pathetic people here called teachers rape the children's mind. And if you people are too stupid to know what rape is, it's called control.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah.
There is a part 2 on that channel, but but that video was the biggest gut punch.
that's so funny.
Yeah, it was so good though. A bunch of fat, ugly women. He just hit them with it right off the bat. It's like, oh, I like this guy.
The guy in the background shouting, "That's not free speech."
Yeah, that's offensive.
Exactly what it is.
It kind of is.
Yeah, free speech can be offensive.
Now, from a PR standpoint, maybe not the best way to make your argument, but
Probably not.
all right. What's this thing on Shane Gillis here?
Oh yeah, he's. I don't know if you guys had heard, but Shane
Oh,
Gillis.
he's literally partnering with Bud Light.
Bud Light has sponsored him now.
Joe
And-
Rogan said.
Yeah, Joe
Rogan's
Rogan
like,
said you should do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And they're now gonna do it.
And now they're actually doing it. He got to
Good
tour
for
the plant.
Shane.
There's all these. He's with the Budweiser horse and everything.
Come on, click on this article. I haven't seen this.
That's
This
the
is
thing.
great.
There's all these different articles out there. Pink News, all these other ones that are saying Bud Light teams up with anti-gay, anti-trans comedian. They call him a right-wing sympathizing comedian. So. That's exactly what Bud Light needed to do if they wanted to be able to move on from the Dylan Mulvaney crap. It's about time that they tried to return to their roots, and it sounds like Shane Gillis. Shane Gillis is the perfect way of doing it. Shane Gillis is it's hard to be mad at Bud Light now because it's like they're partnering with the UFC, they're partnering with Shane Gillis. What's there to be upset about anymore?
Yeah, but I still go back to I never drank Bud Light.
Yeah.
And so for me to convert to Bud Light is like it's almost impossible. Okay. But once again, I mean, they're not targeting me. They're probably targeting the guy that used to drink Bud Light, right? But there's just no way, like, if my taste changed, I don't know. There's still that question mark in my head on Bud Light, and I don't want to go that direction. But anyhow, what's I guess the video isn't regarding
Yeah,
that,
the video is irrelevant. It was more just,
Scroll
I
down
just,
a little bit real
I
quick.
just had the article in there just to prove that I wasn't making
Was
this
there
up.
but isn't there a picture of Shane Gillis with the horses?
Maybe there is in that article.
I'm gonna try. I had to freaking bypass the ad blocker, so it's not gonna let me scroll. But I'm not seeing that picture.
Yeah, good point. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of articles trashing Shane Gillis now. I mean, all these liberal rags are out there saying, this guy,
But Shane Gillis, remember, he got cut from SNL.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. They're also saying that anti-Asian, racist comedian. It's like that's exactly what Bud Light needed, though. They needed to. It's like if you're ever going to bring people back, like Shane Gillis, you're going to have to put someone like him as your top guy. And Shane Gillis used to say that they'll never sponsor me because I drink too much of their. Every time I'm on a podcast, I'm drinking 20 of their beers. So, it's the best move. Let's see. Billy 22 says Bud Light is like making love in a canoe. It's effing close to water. That's fair.
I kind of want to look at. Didn't Love Minnesota give us a Rumble Rant? Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did.
Okay, well then.
Yeah, they did.
Do we open that?
Maybe.
After you vet this video, you might want to show it sometime. X.com Illuminati bot. You're not able to open this, are you?
Can you put it in the spreadsheet?
Do you know how to do this, Jesse? Are you on this feed? Can you click on the link? What is the link?
It'd be a hassle.
Oh yeah,
here.
yeah. What is it? Can you just open the link? Can you see it? We're done with the show.
I'm not
so I don't
able
need you
to.
You're not able to do it.
Not right now. It'd be.
It's Pelosi bashing, basically. Oh, okay.
Well, you know what? I'll get a screenshot of this. We'll put it into the show notes for next time.
Why don't you? Because we lose this feed after we shut down the show.
Yeah.
And I want you to take a look at it. Jesse's on the case. Okay?
Yep. We'll get it on here for you next time. Love Minnesota. Appreciate it.
All right, let's end it. Oh, by the way, one other note from the ceremony today. You know, this is funny. And there's video. I should have had this ready to go. I didn't have much time. I got back at like 12:10 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But Tim Walz presents Major General Charles Kemper, guy I actually know. I actually was in Kosovo with Charles Kemper. This is making me feel old because I knew most of the guys on stage, like the generals on stage. The guy that was giving the speech, retired Command Sergeant Major Doug Wortham. I knew these guys. They're still, Kemper was two peer groups above me, but still, the fact that he's now a major general is crazy in my mind. So anyhow, he gets a flag presented, a state flag presented from Walz. And I'm just going to say, it didn't look like it was the new one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it looked like it was the old one.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. I mean, I'd imagine.
Because I was like, it's customary to present the general with the state flag. And I'm like, it looks like the seal on that one there.
Really? Interesting. Huh.
Still the official flag until apparently May, so.
Yeah. Oh. And if we want, there's one more video I put in here
about
Nikki Haley.
No, we're not going over time.
Okay.
We'll save that for the next one.
That's fair.
All right. Thank you guys for the Rumble Rants. Thanks for the comments. Make sure you like this episode. We'll hopefully be back with Colton Moore. Maybe Ryan Binkley someday.
Maybe.
Maybe not. Who cares? He got .76 in Iowa.
Yeah.
But we appreciate everything you guys do. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you on Tuesday. Take care.